Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shark in the gun, got the knowledge for the college. Football show breaks down the odds of scholars. 3-unit bangers, stack the cheddar like flowers. Ride the wave to fame, flex in the midnight hours. 9 words of lifestyle, spitting flames, no pity. Dominate the board like kings, ruling the city. Sports, gamble, and hustle. Money moves so gritty, cashing tickets every Friday. Life looking pretty, ride the wave. Feel the rush, hit your game. Shark in the gun, setting fire to the name. 3-unit banging, stack the chips, no shame. Friday night sports kings claiming that fame. Analyze stats, break bread, no sweat. 3-point spreads, risk life, major bet. Cash in pockets, feel.
On a suddenly not so casual Friday in October, it is CFB Knowledge for College Week 9, Friday, October 25th, 2024. The Shark and the Gun, right here live on Sharky Waters Nation X, YouTube, and the GunzPicks channel. We got all the sports in the world on TV. We're here to bring you the hype, the analysis, the conversation, and the picks. GunzPicks, what's going on, brother?
Man, I love college football, and this season's going by way too fast, but we've been cooking with absolute napalm. I'm already 5-2 this week. I love Tuesdays. I love Wednesdays. I love Thursday ball. We cashed some tickets yesterday, and I am ready for the slate of Saturday, baby. Let's get into it. Get into the chat. Tell me what you're drinking, what you're smoking. Tell me what plays you're on and what plays you want us to talk about right here on the Shark and the Gun Knowledge for College. Shark, let's get into the plays that pay the bills.
High noon. Tomorrow it will be Week 9 Saturday. Saturdays are for sending it. Going to the New York metro area, East Rutherford, not for the Giants, not for the Jets, but Notre Dame at undefeated Navy. The Gun is a fan and an official. You guys know what that means. An opportunity to dominate. GunzPicks. Notre Dame minus 12.5.
Now, I just want to tell everybody inside baseball here, when I'm on Notre Dame, it means you need to take Notre Dame because I don't like to bet Notre Dame, but I will bet them because I am a handicapper, and this is a play that I like, and I'll tell you why. This Navy team is cooking right now. They're 6-0 straight up, 5-1 ATS, and they're ranked here, folks, for the first time since 2019. Well, it's the second week in a row since 2019, but look at the competition that they have faced so far. We got Bucknell, FCS school. You have Temple, 2-5 on the year and ranked 115th in Massey power rankings. Then you have Memphis. Memphis is 6-1. Now it's a good win, but Memphis put 659 yards of total offense against you. Come on now, folks. And then you have UAB, 1-6 on the year, ranked 117th in Massey rankings. Air Force, 1-6. Charlotte, 3-4, ranked 123rd in Massey power rankings. So who have they played? Absolutely nobody. This is a step up in class here, because Navy has faced the 129th toughest schedule in the country. There's only 134 college football teams here, folks, and they got one of the weakest ones. And then Notre Dame by 4, best team that Navy has seen, obviously. This Notre Dame team is ranked 6th in Massey power rankings. They're ranked 4th in Massey defensive power rankings, and they're ranked top 25 or better in rushing yards per game and rushing yards per carry. And Notre Dame has a strong rush offense. They're ranked 8th in yards per carry, 12th in yards per game. This is a team that is going to run the ball with Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love and Leonard as well. I mean, it's going to be an absolute run fest versus this methodical Navy team. And the Navy defense has shown some weaknesses against the run. They're ranked 81st in opponent yards per carry, 4.4 yards per carry, 94th in opposing yards per game. And this is a team that hasn't faced anybody yet here, folks, and they're ranked that low against a rush on the rush defensive side. And then Notre Dame has just owned the history with Navy. In the past 6 meetings, Notre Dame has won by an average of 21.8 points per game. Last time both these teams were ranked in this matchup was 2019. Guess what happened? Notre Dame trounced them 52-20. I think this is a perfect Notre Dame spot. Notre Dame already got punched in the mouth. They already have the blood in the back of their throat, and they are just going down their schedule, methodically crushing teams. If their offense is going to pick them up, the defense will. And Notre Dame is a double-digit favorite versus a ranked opponent for a reason here, folks. Give me Notre Dame. I got 12.5. I know 13.5s and 14s are on the board right now. This is a 3-score game, folks. Give me Notre Dame minus 12.5 as the play.
Yeah, the markets team is absolutely agreeing with you. And I think just a snapshot. So when you get in late October, early November college football, there are some undefeated teams that are incredibly fraudulent. The Gun and I were talking about this off the record. We think this is where at least one or two will go down on week 9 Saturday. My first play, 12:45, an odd kick time down in Starkville, Mississippi. SEC football taking the over between Arkansas and Mississippi State at 57.5. You can get 56.5 now. When I started looking at this, I was quickly reminded that we backed Arkansas last week and they played an abysmal, incomprehensible football game, losing 34-10 to LSU, a game they were actually much closer most of the way and just made mistake after mistake after mistake, but nonetheless only scored 10 points. So you're going to get a bounce back. But even zooming out further, this team is 4-0 versus the under in their last 4 games, but it is opponent specific in the SEC. Auburn, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, really kind of the OG teams in the SEC. And if you go to their first 3 games, 3-0 versus the over. This is one of those beautiful environments where a team has the capability of scoring and is coming off of a low point where they will bounce back. And if you look at Mississippi State is prime real estate for Arkansas to just turn up the offense. Mississippi State is 4-0 last 4 versus the home over. They're giving up 31 points per game across the entire season against FBS teams. And I think a very specific corollary game to what we're going to see tomorrow, Florida actually came into Starkville in week 4. And for those of you guys that remember, at that point in time with Graham Mertz, Florida was not scoring the ball at all. Florida went into Starkville and lit up the Bulldogs for 45 points. Florida 45, Mississippi State 28. Key point there, same line, 56.5, 57.5. This game has 70 points written all over it. And final point on this, you want to talk about in-conference year-to-year line functionality. Go back 2 years ago. The last time Arkansas went over in this matchup, the line was 55.5, 40-17 over. Last year, week 8 in 2023, Guns, you're going to laugh when I tell you the final score last year. 7-3. 7-3. And books had indicated it, moving the line down to 46.5. So books had the under last year. Now they move it up to 58.5. Books have the over. We have the analysis. We have the official play. Take over 56.5, 57.5. This should get to 70 at 12:45. 3:30, going to the MAC. I was just informed, going to the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio. Bowling Green, a notorious MAC team in years prior for being really bottom-level MAC football. But this line at +2.5, indicating upward movement has come for Bowling Green. The Gun has noticed an official play, Bowling Green +2.5.
Yeah, I got put on the pay no mind list with my comment that, did you know that Toledo is the leading glass manufacturer in the country? And he said, cool story, bro. But let's talk about Bowling Green versus Toledo here. We got Glass Bowl, Toledo, Ohio. 3:30 is the kick on this one. And you have a Bowling Green team that's 3-4 on the year. Kind of misleading with the statistics that they brought. They're 2-1 in the conference, but they're off a 27-6 win over Kent State. And then you have Toledo, 5-2 on the year, 2-1 straight up versus conference opponents. And they're off a 13-6 win over NIU. Now, Bowling Green is 3-4, but they have a +4 point differential, +35 net yard average. They've only lost the net yardage battle 3 times this season, and guess to who? We're talking Texas A&M, Penn State, ranked opponents, and NIU, who was ranked at one point, and they only lost by 65 yards on average in all 3 of those games. And then you have a pass-oriented team with Bowling Green. That's what they're going to want to do. They have they're 21st in pass completion percentage, 44th in passing yards per play, and they're 47th in pass yards per game. And then you got a Toledo team is a better pass team than they are in the rush, but Toledo is ranked 121st in rushing yards per carry and 113 in rushing yards per game, but they are ranked 71st in pass completion rate, 54th in yards per play, and pass yards per game, they're ranked 44th. But you have a good defense with Bowling Green. I think that's the advantage that we're going to have in this game. They are ranked 8th in pass defense as far as opposing completion rate, and then 9th in opposing passing yards per play, 6th in opposing pass yards per game. And then Bowling Green has done this playing a tougher schedule. That PSU, they lost by 7 as 34-point dogs. Texas A&M, they lost by 6 as 21-point road dogs. And then you have Toledo. Non-conference schedule was UMass, Mississippi State, and Western Kentucky. Lackluster teams. And then you have the revenge angle for Bowling Green. Bowling Green lost to Toledo 32-21 as 10.5-point home dogs. And now they're a shorter dog here on the road. Line functionality is apparent here. And then you have Bowling Green is just 7-3 ATS on the road, 5-2 ATS is an away dog, and they're going against the Toledo team that is off a win, 5-10 ATS when they come off a win. And then you got to look at the home team is the team to take, especially in the last 3 years. I'm sorry, the home team is the team to fade in these spots because they are 0-3 straight up in the last 3 meetings. Bowling Green's the better team here, folks. This is not your last year or the year after Toledo team. This team does not have DeQuan Finn as the quarterback anymore. This team, a lot of the key guys transferred out. This team is lower, and then you have a Bowling Green on the come up and have competed with everybody in the FBS, including ranked opponents. Give me Bowling Green plus 2.5 as the play.
Yeah, sharp stuff there. This is where the mat gets good. Of course, a lot of weeknight games, which can be harder to predict because of bizarre calendar spots. Some of these teams are playing on 2 days rest and just all sorts of ridiculous stuff. So centering here, week 9 Saturday, the Gun Bowling Green plus 2.5. Staying big time football here, or maybe not so big time, but that's okay. We like these smaller market teams. 2 o'clock in Greenville, North Carolina. Going back to the well with East Carolina, a team we have played 3 or 4 times this year. I think going 2-1 ATS in those games. Taking Eastern Carolina, posted early week 6.5. Sharps team on this. You get 7 or 7.5 now. I see a blowout coming. And truthfully, this is a great merge, buy low, sell high. ECU is coming in here off back-to-back blowout road losses in week 6 and week 8, giving up a combined 100 points in those 2 games. Week 6, I told you guys officially it would go over against Charlotte. I didn't foresee them losing the game by 31 points in the process, however. And then last week, getting hammered by Army, which did make sense. Army is high quality. But you do find ECU here coming into the game 1-4 ATS last 5, a great buy low to where they are actually 2-0 ATS as a home favorite this year. This is where they function very well. I think even more importantly, from a psychological perspective, ECU actually fired their coach mid-season after the loss at Army. I saw the headline on the ESPN soundbite news here. I was actually kind of surprised because I wasn't thinking that ECU was taking their program that seriously, where they would fire their coach right around 500 mid-season. But I like that because it shows they do really care. And they promoted their defensive coordinator, obviously giving up that many points. The emphasis will be on defense now. And you get a great spot to fade Temple. Temple is a bottom feeder at this point this season. And Temple uncannily is 4-1 ATS last 5. When I was going through this, I actually was kind of blown away with surprise because Temple is really low this year. 80% cover rate last 5. Sell that. And they're also coming off of an outright home win against Tulsa, only their second win of the season. The only other time they won outright this season, they did get blown out the following week. And speaking of getting blown out, 3 prior road games this year for Temple, 0-3 straight up, 1-2 ATS, getting outscored in those games 118-34. This is ECU playing an ex-Miami, Florida quarterback, brand new coach bump, defensive emphasis off 2 blowout losses, getting back in their flow at home against a Temple team that is way too hot and open for business. Turn the hell up, ECU at 2 o'clock, and let's dominate. 3:30 p.m., the Gun has the hat on. A beautiful print it is. Big contrarian line move here midweek. UCF at home in the Orlando area, laying 2.5 now to previously undefeated number 11 in the country, BYU. GunzPicks has the hat. He has an official. GunzPicks, what's going on here?
Yeah, we're taking a trip to the bounce house to go look at number 11, BYU versus UCF. 3:30 kick is on this one, and BYU, impressive. Great start, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 ATS, and they're coming from behind win over Oklahoma State, 38-35. And then UCF, kind of on a low streak right now, 4-game losing streak, and they lost a close one when they had the lead in the fourth quarter versus Iowa State on the road. And then UCF, their offense got a boost. They switched the quarterback, got KJ Jefferson, benched him, put in Ja'Cory Brown. When they put in Ja'Cory Brown, that run game started cooking. They've run over 5 yards per carry with RJ Harvey and Ja'Cory Brown, who's running for 8.7 yards per carry, leading the charge. They're 8th in rushing play percentage and 5th in rushing yards per game. And BYU has shown that they've been gashed against good running offenses. You got Oklahoma State last week. They put up 269 rushing yards, 7.3 yards per carry against them. And then Kansas State. Granted, that Kansas State had some outliers in that game, but they still cooked running the football. 228 rushing yards, 5.3 yards per carry. And then UCF has just performed well versus ranked opponents. 5-1 ATS dating back to 2022. This team gets motivated when they play a ranked opponent. I just think this is a perfect spot for UCF. You see the line getting steamed up into the direction. You have UCF as a favorite right now. And when you have a favorite that is unranked at home versus a ranked road dog, you always take the favorite. And I'm going to be taking them here. Throw the spread out the window, folks. I'm just going to take them to win the game. Give me UCF money line -130 as the play.
Yeah, I mean, this was actually +1.5 on Sunday or Monday. This is significant steam. And as you said, some of these plays are just mandatory. It's just blindly from any sort of sharp analysis. Why is an unranked team 3-4 straight up favored over a 7-0 team? So I might get there myself, or I might tail this, but an official from the Gun on the money line at -130. 3:30 p.m. Pratt and Whitney Stadium, going back to East Hartford, Connecticut, taking UConn in what I perceive to be a bounce back off a loss last week. And if you really look at UConn has been an upstart home team for about 3 or 4 seasons now with different quarterbacks. But Jim Mora Jr., I believe, as the head coach up there, this is a guy that brings a great mentality. And this team just catches teams napping in Connecticut, central Connecticut, at this point in the season, game after game. Wake Forest did beat them last week, which makes this even better of a handicap. That was only the 3rd loss this year for UConn. Off of their previous other 2 outright losses, they are 2-0 straight up in ATS in the bounce back game. Both blowouts and both at home versus inferior competition. Week 2 blew out FCS Merrimack. It might not sound impressive, but when books have them favored there by 14.5 points and they win by 46 versus the book number, that's a very impressive win regardless of the opponent. And in week 4, off a road loss at Duke, they came home against FAU and blew out FAU 48-14. And Guns and I were talking about this off the air. This is the 5th game of 6 consecutive home games for UConn. Really unheard of stuff. 6 straight home games. The only thing that I could theorize as to why, with all this conference reconstruction, a lot of teams just wanted to get games. And certain teams have the ability, when the power is in their court, to say, listen, we're not coming to your stadium. If you want a game, you come to our place. And I think that's why they have all these home games against FCS teams, FAU, Wake Forest, and all these random teams. So regardless of that, they're kind of just sitting pretty in their home area, super comfortable. And you do get this awful loss. And you go to the right side of this game. really, really good spot to fade Rice. Rice is actually 3-4 ATS, 2-5 straight up, 2-0 ATS last two. And this is one of the beautiful things about college football at this point in the season. We have enough data where we can really sell high on some of these teams that are not very good. So when you find Rice 2-0 ATS last 2 weeks, you want to sell it. But if you look at the box scores, you want to sell it even more. Go back to week 7 at home against UTSA. They did win the game outright as an underdog on the final play of the game. 18-yard touchdown pass by EJ Warner. I believe that is Kurt Warner's son. Guns. That is Kurt Warner's son, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think
he played for Temple last year. I think.
I'd have to confirm that. I don't know that answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless,
EJ's his son, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. So Kurt Warner's son throws a dime pass with 4 seconds to go in the fourth quarter to walk it off. Let that be what it is. Then they went to Tulane last week. Caught Tulane napping. Tulane had laid 70 points plus on the road the previous week at UAB. Tulane played their worst game of the season last week, and truthfully, Rice outgained them in the game and almost won. The game was super tight until the fourth quarter. Tulane pulled it out because of a cluster of Rice turnovers. But now you get a road sequence. Rice played their best statistical game of the year last week at Tulane. They're 2-0 ATS last two, and this is only the second time these teams have played. UConn did play at Rice last year, October 7th, 2023. UConn did beat Rice on the road. You talk about the line and line functionality. In that game, Rice was minus 10.5. And now UConn opens up at minus 6.5. I have this game graded UConn to win this game by 21 points on the average, which is exactly what they did to Merrimack and FAU, blowouts off previous losses. We've been on UConn a lot. Last week they went down. They come up here by UConn, minus 6.5, minus 7 now. 8 o'clock, Fresno, California. Going to the gun here before we go to a couple collabs. Fresno State laying 5 at home to San Jose State. San Jose State has had some big moments this year in some big-time games, but you think they're capped in this spot. Fresno State minus 5, official.
Yeah, we're going to Valley Children's Stadium, Fresno, California. 8 p.m. is the kick. We got some Mountain West action for you here. Fresno State coming off a road win, 24-21 versus Nevada. They're 4-3 on the year. Going against San Jose State, team off a home win versus Wyoming, 24-14. They are 5-2 on the year. Then you got to look at San Jose State. The reason why I like Fresno in this spot, they're a weak road team. They have a 0-point differential, minus 9 net yard average on the road this season. They give up 11 more points per game to their opponents on the road than they do at home. Their defense gave up 627 yards of total offense to Washington State, which was 196 yards above Washington State's offensive season average. Then they played Colorado State. 455 yards given up to them. That was 95 yards above their season average. So when you play San Jose State and you're the home team, you're going to be putting up some exceptional yardage above your season average. And then you got to look at San Jose State, pass-oriented team. They're ranked 4th in pass play percentage, 32nd in passing yards per play, 6th in passing yards per game, but they're playing a Fresno State team that really has a decent pass defense. They're ranked 29th in opposing pass completion rate, 13th in opposing pass yards per play, 25th in opposing pass yards per game. This will be the best pass defense that San Jose State has seen all year. And then you got the revenge angle. We love revenge angles. When we talk about these plays, Fresno State lost to San Jose State 42-18 last season as 2.5-point road dogs, and now they're favored here at home. Last 2 times that Fresno State lost to San Jose State, guess what happened? Fresno State dominated them, winning by an average of 24 points per game. This is just a Fresno State spot here, folks. They're 3-1 ATS is a favorite this season, and you have the revenge angle to boot. Give me Fresno State minus 5 as the play.
My next play, 5 o'clock, Sunbelt football in Mobile, Alabama, taking ULM, the Warhawks, at plus 7.5. And I think that might have gotten steamed down as well. Notice a lot of these plays are getting steamed in our direction. Very sharp stuff here in week 9. ULM comes into this game with their best team in a long time. 5-1 straight up, 5-1 ATS. The conversation is always so interesting where sometimes we're selling teams in this environment and sometimes we're buying. And this is where you zoom out and you're finding upward movement that is expected to continue more long window for a ULM team that has been absolutely abysmal for the last 4 or 5 years. It all started in the COVID year in 2020. They went 0-10 straight up, and they proceeded to go 10-36 straight up in the last 4 years. The reason for this shift is certainly some transfer portal, but it's mostly because of this head coach they signed last December to lead the program. Guy's name is Bryant Vincent. I did a little research on this guy, and I was kind of blown away by his backstory. It's not like crazy. He wasn't like overseas and, like had his leg blown off or anything. But from a psychological perspective, he didn't even play high school football. The guy has basically no on-field football experience at all. He played high school baseball and actually quit high school baseball while still a teenager to become an graduate assistant coach of football. Like I was saying to Guns, you talk about like ex-players, this and that. This dude didn't even play, but football coaching was calling him as a child. Like, talk about a passion for being a coach. And I was watching an interview on a local channel on YouTube. The guy just has a real competitive, just disciplined Southern type of personality. And the team has really taken that on this year, just completely transforming themselves. Only loss was a blowout loss at Texas. Nothing like this environment. The team is 3-0 straight up and ATS in the Sun Belt Conference. They won at Troy outright as a 7.5-point dog, which is right where this line is on the road. And I think probably more impressively, week 6, they beat James Madison outright at home at plus 16.5. This team is going nowhere but up. And you look at the other side of this game, South Alabama really is the opposite. South Alabama had been classy in the Sun Belt in previous seasons. They are coming down 3-4 straight up. They are actually 2-1 ATS at home. Talk about fool's gold. You guys probably remember this. Week 3, 87 points on FCS Northwestern State, 87-10. Get out of here with that crap. And then they got the aforementioned Troy 25-9 on Tuesday Night Football week 8. And as we said, Troy is also down this year without Gunnar Watson from previous years. And a really crucial point on both their home covers, both weeknight primetime games. Thursday Night Football week 3, Tuesday Night Football week 8, which is where you catch these random teams napping, traveling on weeknights to obscure small colleges in the Sun Belt. Their only actual home game on a Saturday was week 1 home blowout loss to North Texas. And final point on this game, this is a double revenge game. South Alabama has won the last 2. Last year, South Alabama actually did play a road game at ULM, back-to-back seasons. We don't know why. South Alabama won that game by 48 points, 55-7, minus 11. Now, same stadium, they're on the road at home this year. Road minus 11, home minus 7.5. This suggests USA here to win by 1 point at the max. And truthfully, I could see ULM winning this game. Again, take ULM at plus 7.5 or plus 7, and let's dominate. 29 minutes in the books. First collab play. We have a bunch of collab plays. Obviously trying to keep the show concise to about 30 to 40 minutes. But big-time SEC football. Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. Texas A&M at home, catching LSU. Tons of analysis here. Elite level spot. I'll throw it to the gun for some opening comments and then official.
Yeah, perfect spot for A&M on this one. Kyle Field, College Station, 7:30 p.m. is the kick. Night game, too, in College Station. Going to be a rough one here for LSU. LSU 6-1 on the year and off a big road win versus Arkansas. We capped it wrong. My bad. 34-10, plus 116 net yards, but they had a plus 3 turnover ratio that was a deciding factor in that game. Texas A&M's coming off a bye week, well rested, well prepared. They're 6-1. They've won 6 straight since their loss in week 1 to Notre Dame. They have a plus 13 point differential, plus 80 net yard average. And then what does LSU want to do? They want to pass the ball. They're ranked 9th in the country in pass play percentage, 7th in passing yards per game, and they're number 1 in protecting the quarterback with a QB sack, a low QB sack rate, and then they're 59th in interceptions thrown percentage. These stats are a little bit misleading. I think we talked about it the last week. They played some bad pass defenses at home or on neutral sites. The best defense they faced so far is Arkansas and South Carolina, and both these teams held them under 300 passing yards in both those situations. Texas A&M is ranked 14th in defensive Massey power rankings, and they can stop the pass too, holding opponents to 173 passing yards per game, 52.1 pass completion rate. This will be the best pass defense that LSU has seen all season, and of course, you have the revenge angle here, folks. Pound of flesh game with A&M. They lost to LSU 42-30 as 12-point road dogs, and now they're favored at home. When you look at this matchup, you always take the home team. The home team is 8-1 straight up in this rivalry, and LSU has lost 7 straight at College Station. This is a big A&M spot here, as LSU is running a little bit too hot for my liking after 2 big conference wins, going to College Station where they typically regress and don't play well. You have a higher ranked team as a dog versus a lower ranked team at home as a favorite. We always take the lower seeded team here as a favorite. Give me Texas A&M -2.5 as the play.
Yeah, and as you said, when you see a lower ranked team laying, take it. And honestly, as you mentioned, this is a better spot, in my opinion, than UCF. We're not saying UCF isn't a good spot, but this is an even better spot because there is so much more historical rivalry data here. And I've been saying this now for the entire broadcast, but this is really where you can sell high and buy low on teams. This is a great sell high point on LSU. LSU is 6-1 straight up. They're 4-0 ATS last 4. This is a brutal, brutal spot for them. Go back to week 7. We said it last week before we missed the Arkansas cap. They had a huge home win against ranked Ole Miss in overtime, storming the field, ridiculous high. Then, of course, a blowout at Arkansas last week. But as Guns was mentioning, and I was mentioning before, when you watch that game, it didn't really strike you that LSU was just that superior to Arkansas. Arkansas really just played a bad football game. So you always have to say to yourself, who was that? Dominant from LSU or Arkansas being bad? It was more Arkansas. Now they got to stay on the road back-to-back, 4-0 ATS last 4. And they go home for Alabama in their next game. So this is just a death zone trap spot. And prior to covering at Arkansas last week, they were actually 0-2 on the season at road or neutral sites. So this is not where LSU has performed well this season outside of the outlier last week. Took a neutral site loss in the opener to USC in Las Vegas and did not cover and played a pretty poor football game earlier, I believe week 2 or 3 at South Carolina. And the Texas A&M side of this game is a great buy low. The Aggies are only 2-5 ATS. Statistically, you want to buy this. They were not particularly good at home out of conference, going 0-3 ATS at home out of conference, only conference home game. And I think not coincidentally, off a prior non-cover, they hammered number 9 at the time, Missouri, 41-10. You talk about line correlation and you talk about how books have games graded versus ranked opponents. Week 7, October 5th, it was number 9, Missouri. Texas A&M was favored at home over them, -2.5, and they won by 31. This is number 8, LSU, in the same spot, same stadium, -2.5, Texas A&M. I think margin could come here. I have this game graded Texas A&M to win the game by 14 points. It is a collaboration play. The Shark and the Gun. Let's dominate. That's the show for tonight. 35 minutes in the books. We appreciate you guys immensely on this Friday night, tuning in either live or throughout the Friday evening and into Saturday morning and afternoon. We aim to bring you guys the best hype, entertainment, analysis, and picks you can find in college football spheres. And we do have a ton of plays this week, 9 official plays, including 1 collab. Arkansas, Mississippi State over 57.5 for me. ECU -6.5. UConn -6.5. ULM +7.5. And the collab play, Texas A&M -2.5. GunzPicks at noon, 12.5. Notre Dame at MetLife Stadium taking out undefeated Navy. Bowling Green +2.5 at the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio. Some action at 3:30 p.m. UCF to knock off another undefeated team in week 9 at 3:30 at home. Fresno State -5. And again, Collab, A&M, Kyle Field, College Station, primetime Saturday, week 9. Turn the hell up and dominate. Sending you guys beautiful vibes on this Friday night. Enjoy it. We will be back on Sunday morning at 10:30 for NFL Sunday. Have a great night. GunzPicks. A pleasure as always. Close them out with some words and let's dominate.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Want to give Ming Lee a little bit of an answer on this one. He's looking at Boise State versus UNLV. I think points. This is going to be a high-scoring affair with two electric offenses that are top-ranked in offensive scoring, and they're low-ranked on the defensive scoring end. I think there's going to be a lot more passing than running. I know Austin Genty's doing a great job. They're going to give him the ball. They're going to give him his looks, but I think it's going to be more on screen passes, get it through the air, because UNLV's got a good rush defense. Boise has a good rush defense, but they're both piss poor in the pass defense. Points over the total is what I like in that one. And I want to shout out everybody in the chat. We got pick from Dave, LBCC, Bruno from Portugal, looking at the gun in the shack. And we have Peter Krasniak, True Gun Disciple, Jay's Final Take. And everybody that's watching us, whether you're watching us live, watching us recorded, please like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel. Please like and subscribe to the Shark Wars Nation. And check out Saturday mornings with GunzPicks at 10 a.m. special time, because I have a special guest for that show. It is going to be an absolutely electric show, and I can't wait till you guys watch it. Please tune in. 10 a.m. I'm going to break down the top 25, and I'll give you more picks along the way. And also check out Top Tier Handicapping Network Playbook. I gave out more plays there. If you want some more plays, go check it out. I gave those out on Tuesday. That is on Top Tier Handicapping Network. That's going to do it here for the Knowledge for College Shark of the Gun show. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the board. And as always, let's keep dancing. Yeah.